I started back in my younger days through 4-H, basically, back in Manitoba. And I started out in garden club, but then we got going a craft club along with a calf club. And one of the units was embroidery. And then when I went to work in the Peace River country in the late 60s, there was a Ukrainian community up there, and the Ukrainian Catholic priest said one year we should organize a children's camp. And one of the ladies that had come there from Grand Prairie was teaching embroidery. And so I saw how she was doing it, and I decided to try it. But back then there weren't a lot of materials available like we do now for вишиття or embroidery. And one of the places was the Ukrainian bookstore, and also by mail. And I still have my first piece that I did after camp was finished. Over the years, and it was back in 1975 when I returned to university to pursue my teaching career, there was a class being offered at St. Basil's, and so I took it, and it was in cross-stitch. And actually there was two of them, and the second one was the one that really got me going into it. The method the lady taught fascinated me, and I perfected it, which led to my teaching many, many classes. And I'm still teaching some of that embroidery. And the years of the 60s, 70s, and into 80s were really, I would call, the glorious years of Ukrainian embroidery in Alberta. I don't know specifically across Canada, but in Alberta, certainly there were a lot of classes. And so I have quite a lot of things that were done, particularly some of the other stitches, not cross-stitching. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of embroidery once the machine that could cross-stitch came on the market. And also, 1991, when independence, the costume department for dancing costumes came from Ukraine. And so women did not need to know how to embroider anymore because all of these things were given to them. So we lost a generation in that area of embroidery. What kind of stitches? Які стіби я знаю по українській вишиття. Хрестики із найбільше, що багато жінок вишивають, і ще вишивають, але ми маємо такі чудові стіби. Я вчила вирізування, і то було, давно я взяла клас від одної жінки, і то є чудове, воно білим на білим, і то треба не на тоненький, але то дрібненька робота. Також мережки, то є чудові стіби, і інакші. І також то на білим. І ми маємо яворівки, і то є кольорове вишиття, рушникові стіби, і то є червоне на білим. І то інакше, бо то маємо інші стіби. Ми рухаємо трохи, але трохи ні. What I have been doing is, for the last about 30-some years, is being in the Ukrainian bilingual program schools, mainly at St. Martin's, but I did venture out and do St. Matthew's in Edmonton, and also in Vegreville for the last number of years. And so what I have been organized projects for grades 1 to 6, and each level has a different stitch. And from grade 1 to 4, I do zavolykanya, which is a traditional running stitch. But the patterns are quite amazing that can be done, and quite amazing what the children can do if they're adept at it. And one of the things that I've learned about it is that children that have math skills can excel at embroidery because it's mathematical work. And grade 5 and 6 I change, and we do chlod, which is satin stitch work, and also some other stitches in grade 6 that are in Ukrainian embroidery. And the other thing is that I'm trying to encourage younger people. But our young people say they don't want to clutter their houses. They don't want a lot of things. So what can we do in embroidery for today? They're not going to make pillows. They're not going to need to embroider blouses and shirts because you can buy so many kinds of them. So I've been trying to work up some more creative ways of teaching, and I like the sampler. Samplers are huge in the embroidery market. And so I've worked up several samples, one in whitework, one in different techniques, which would amount to about a 4-day class to take it. And just some small projects like needle cases are huge in the needlework area. You can buy all kinds of kits, non-Ukrainian, of course, but and other stitchery projects like that. Things in hoops are coming back. And so I thought about trying to make something like that as a teaching possibility. So we need to encourage the young people. And I will add that COVID-19 has brought a lot of people back to doing handwork. The market has been excessively busy in that field. So hopefully it'll translate to some classes that we offer in Edmonton for Ukrainian embroidery. One of the big things out there right now when I look on Pinterest and some of those other areas is the whole field of repurposing. The other thing we keep hearing is Baba has moved out, Baba has lots of treasures, what do we do with them? And so I've been trying to work out some things, and I have quite a few examples of what can we make from vishita or embroidered pieces that may be tattered a little bit, but still have beautiful work. And it's a shame to throw these things out. And so I've come up with tote bag, a wall hanging, for example, little trays that are used for travel can be adapted to that kind of thing, little ornaments, little needle cases. So there's a wide range. So we're hoping to teach a class in that kind of thing coming up. And because there's a lot of other things you need when you're repurposing. And then I cannot forget my mother, who did embroider. And I have several pieces that she embroidered for her grandchildren. And she was already into her later 80s when she still could handle a needle and thread. And so what I want to say is, don't ever quit. And it's never too late to start.